This is an instructional video for What's Your Cosmo card game. You can find more information on its website, whatsyourcosmo.com, or type in What's Your Cosmo card game into any search engine. The game I'll be showing you today is Final Draw. And just to review, the Cosmo deck has two wild cards. The Sun wild card, which can be plus or minus 1 to 5. And for Final Draw, it can also have a value of 0. The other wild card is an infinity card, and that can be a plus or minus 6. There are also 5 Cosmo cards in the Cosmo deck, with each having a sign, minus, plus, and the planet card can be a plus or a minus. Final Draw challenges the players to attempt to reduce the sum value of the cards in their hand to as close to 0 as possible. First, each player is dealt a Cosmo card, and we will just be giving an example of one player. So once a Cosmo card is dealt out, each player is dealt 3 cards, and these would be kept face down, and that would be their stack card. So each player would get 3 stack cards. And then each player is dealt their hand. In this case, I will be putting it face up, just to make it easy. So 3 cards would be dealt to each player as their hand. Cosmo card the player is dealt determines if the end value of the sum is going to be a positive or negative value. So the player is going to want to either have a 0 value or a minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 value. The players take their turns revealing one of their stack cards and determine if it's going to help their hand. So right now, my value of my hand would be plus 6 plus a minus 3, which would be plus 3. So my value of my hand is plus 3 right now. I would turn over my stack card, and it's an infinity, so it can be a plus or minus 6. Right now I have a plus 3 value, and I have a minus Cosmo card, so I have to work to get this to a minus level or to 0. If I have plus 3 value, I could make this into a minus 6, which would give me a minus 3 value. At least I'm in the right range, so I'll go ahead and keep this card. And then the next player would turn over their stack card, determine if it helps, keep it or not. And then when it comes around to the first player again, they would turn over their other stack card and determine if they want to keep this card or pass it. If I have a minus 3 value, the plus 5 is not going to help. So I am going to place that card. I'm going to pass it, put it under my Cosmo card, and it's the next player's turn. As the round goes around again, on my third stack card, minus 3. If I have a minus 3 value, I don't want to keep that. That's going to give me minus 6, and I want to be as close to 0 as possible. So right now I have a minus 3 value. So this continues until players have all gone through their 3 stack cards. Then the final turn is the final draw. If a player has kept 1 card, they can determine if they want a final draw. They don't have to take a final draw if they don't want to. In this case I want to, because minus 3 is okay, but I would like to get closer to 0 if possible. I got a plus 1. So I've gone down to now my value of my cards is minus 2. We have plus 6. Let's see here. Plus 6, plus 7, plus 3, plus 4, minus 6 is minus 2. So it's not that bad. Minus 2 is close to 0. It's better than having like a minus 5. So that's my hand, and that's my point that I will get scored on the tally. If you want to have a more challenging game, You could make it where a player has to keep 2 stack cards, or they have to take a final draw. And that's just a more challenging way to play final draw. Makes it a little bit more fun, more math skills, and it's up to you. The player who gets the least amount of points wins. And points are given to each player based on how close they were to their target value and on what side of the positive or negative fence their final value was situated. So again, if I have a minus card, I'm going to want to have 0 be my sum, or -1, -2, -3. If I would have a plus Cosmo card, I'd want to have my sum be 0 or +1, +2, +3, and not much higher than that. Otherwise, you don't win the game. For any other questions about final draw, go to whatsyourcosmo.com.